And again, this is why these guys are up here too. Recruiting is always a team effort. It's a team effort with your players. It's a team effort with your support staff. It's a team effort with your fans and the way that they support and care about the program and the way they turn out for the Hoosier Asterias and the games and the gear that they wear. But we wouldn't be anywhere without what these guys are doing, because you got to have, you're not going to win without great point guard play. And these guys really are the point guards, per se, of what we're doing, because they know where everybody needs to be. They know exactly what we need. They recruit at a high level. They don't just recruit in a one or two dimension way. They recruit the whole gamut. And for our recruiting class this year, I think it's a sign of the times, and that whatever way we looked at recruiting in the past, it's all changing now. You know, it's all changing. So you got to be able to adjust with it. It's like the new rules. Who adjusts the best gets it. Well, you got to stay true to what you want. And we tried to stay true to getting people that had athletic upside, that had that character and work ethic upside, have that intelligence upside, and that are really competitive and from winning programs. And I think we hit that. I think we absolutely hit that. We hit people that come from winning programs, not just good teams. We hit on getting people from excellent families, and we hit on getting people that are well coached. And I'll start with the way that they came down. And Robert Johnson, Jr., we got a guy that plays with an edge. He has a determination about him. He was one of those guys that was known but relatively unknown nationally until the summer came. And he went out there and established what he could do. And we started recruiting him even while James was committed, because we felt the two of them could play together. And even after James decommitted and during the recruiting process to get him to come back with us, we never wavered on those two together. Could be phenomenal. And for having to turn out this way is excellent, because when where we're at, we're trying to get multidimensional, versatile, attack, downhill players that can make shots. And Robert Johnson can do all that. He can play off the ball. He can play. He can handle the ball. He can play down the middle. He can play off the wing. He can shoot the three. He's got a tenacity defensively. He's got a strong work ethic. He's got a humility that we love. He was very, very easy for the players to enjoy. You know, when he was on his visit, a couple of them knew him, you know, from that part of the country, but most didn't. And he fit in extremely well. He comes from a home where they want the best for him. They've preached education. He's done an outstanding job in school, year-round winner, like I said, in high school and in the AAU program, and wants to be a great player. So we were very, very fortunate to get him. His tenacity, his ability to make plays and make shots, his ability to deliver the basketball, his ability to get up into people defensively helps him right off the bat. One of the letters isn't in yet, and so we're going to have to skip that right now. But one of the other letters that's in is James Blackman Jr. And this, to me, I've known him, we've known him longer than we've known half our team. And getting to know James Blackman from the very beginning, in June, I believe, of 2010, when he came up to a camp for the first time, all the way through to today, when I talked to him after he'd signed, it has been an absolute privilege to be a part of that family. Because when you start to think about families, and we've recruited some really great families in Indiana, that's a family right there. And his mom and dad, not only are you getting a well-coached young man, but you're getting a guy that's coached by his dad. And not only, and what he did with Deshaun Thomas in high school and the way he's won at Lures is fantastic. And so you know you're getting somebody that's bringing, that James has an ability to do so much, and he's being pushed to do a lot. And that's going to be very, very key when he gets here. James is a phenomenal shooter with phenomenal range. He's getting better every day with his ball handling, with his driving. He is one of the best open court players that I've ever personally been a part of recruiting. He's growing. I think the greatest thing to me about James was how he recovered from his knee injury and what he did to take that chip on his shoulder of being a great player just got bigger and bigger. And sometimes when you go through an injury like that, you can go the other way. He didn't. He went the way of becoming better and better. I think he's just scratching the surface athletically. I think he's just scratching the surface as a player. In my mind, we got the absolute best player in the state of Indiana. And there was no debate for us for a long, long time that he was that guy. And not just because of what he's doing, but because of what he can do in high school, and then what I think he can do here. He is going to become a guy that is going to be able to handle that ball. He's got point guard skills. He has got versatility, and he's got a want to. And again, he knows how to play, knows how to win. He can fit in any environment. It's like Tim Buckley would say, he can make a gym or make a shot in Marion, Indiana. He's going to be able to make a shot in Assembly Hall. He can make a shot in a third world country, not knowing anybody. He can shoot the ball. And we knew going in that was going to be an absolute must for us, was to get better there. And so we addressed our needs with a capital N, I guess, so to speak, in the way that we recruited. But to get the quality of young men, to get the way that they are as people and their families, and to bring those families in here, and to bring young men that really know how to win, that's a big deal. And going through the process with James, even after the decommitment, I got it. I got it at that time why he decommitted. He'd never been anywhere else. He had never seen another school. A few years ago, you grow as a parent, you grow as a coach. I got it. Sometimes people can decommit and it's the best thing that could happen for you. That was not the case with James. We really wanted him to be here, and we were willing to be in the fight. We were willing to be in the fight, and that's what it was, because everybody else wanted him too. He's an outstanding player. But it helped the relationship continue to not only grow, but to cement. It gave him a different perspective, and I think it made him, or helped him, I should say, appreciate Indiana that much more, and appreciate what it means to play in the state of Indiana, because he is a young man from Indiana. He got a chance to see some great programs. He got a chance to see them showing what they had to offer, their best. But the great thing about him is he always knew when we didn't have it. He's in the state of Indiana when we'd lose a game, or he's in the state of Indiana when we didn't do this or we wouldn't do that. Well, he's also in the state of Indiana when we did do those things. And I think at the end of the day, he knew that he could come in here and really impact this program, as did Rob, and as did this entire recruiting class. So I'll turn it over to those guys. You can ask anything you want, but we're ecstatic with this class, and we're ecstatic about the future of it, because like I said, we got the needs answered with a capital N for what we need to do to keep taking the next step in this program.
Just, I guess, for for anybody up, you said it twice with a capital N, and you've talked before about the shooting. Were you surprised at some level at the end of the day that you got three guys who were so well known for their shooting, not just their shooting, but three guys who are considered to be, I guess, within this class, elite shooters, that you were able to just get that much shooting ability?
Well, I'll answer the first part because I think this is big. When people know we've got a lot of really good parts here, and we've got and young men, when they come in, the one thing that continues to grow is the astute view that they take on where they fit in and how they're going to fit. Because obviously, more and more, it's about how do you play early, and especially in a place like Indiana. And I think people could come in here and say, you know what, there's a real need. These guys are really good. There's a lot of talent here, but I think I can come in here and really impact it, because that's what we needed. So that's my view. Go ahead.
I think with both James and Robert, you'll all enjoy watching them play because they're very good basketball players. Even in the summertime, sometimes when you watch games, and they aren't as pleasant to watch sometimes because they play so many games, both of those guys have a great feel. They know how to play, and it's even neat to watch them miss shots because those shots are so nice and soft, and they put it up there on the rim, and every time both of them shoot it, you think that it's going to go in. But they also do a great job of getting other people's shots, and we felt that they were really good basketball players to fit in what we already have, and not only will they do well here, but they'll also accentuate what the other guys do here.
Tim, as a guy who's been involved with the recruitment with James as long as you were, when he decommits, you like the family, you want what's best for the kid as well. Does it hurt at some level that he's after all this time committed, he backs off, and you're forced to continue to find? I mean, just what are the emotions when that kind of thing happens?
Well, because of the relationship we all had with them, we understood where it was coming from, and they explained it that he needed to see some other things, and we felt in the long run, because he was somebody that we really wanted here, it would only make that bond grow stronger, and that's exactly what it did. And now I think he feels even more excited and positive about his decision.
Obviously, you got what you wanted out of this class, but for all the twists and turns that happened from the time you get James initially until now, was this one of the strangest sort of recruiting campaigns you've had, all told, with all the guys you almost got, the guys you did get, the decommit in the middle, everything?
Well, I think to a degree, but I think here again, it's all part of the 24/7 news cycle that's out there right now. It's like last year with the oversigning. We couldn't necessarily talk about on a daily basis what we thought was going to happen in-house, because you just can't do that. You've got to continue to recruit, and you better have flexibility, you better have thick skin, you better not get your feelings hurt, and you better be able to adjust on the fly. But at the same time, with that being said, you never get away from what the priorities are. And so I think what happens is you've got to have a plan, okay, another plan, a contingency plan, and then a contingency plan for the contingency plan. You just do. And I think if you don't do that, it's like the world now. You just got to keep moving with it. It's like these new rules. I mean, you've got to keep adjusting to the game. Every game is different. How do you adjust to it? And I think the way it has gone thus far, it was all worth it. There's no question it was worth it, because we got the guys that we want to do. It was worth waiting for James. He was that special to us, and that family epitomizes the kind of family you want in your program. You want them around your other parents. You want them around your program, and at the same time, we knew there was risk, so we better have a plan for that risk. And it's the same thing last year with the oversigning. And you constantly have to have the ability to adapt, okay, but you also have to have the stick-to-itiveness to say, okay, all right, this could happen, this may not happen, we got to stay with it, but this is what our priorities are. And I thought, we pretty much cracked our priorities, so I feel good about that.
Kenny, what do you like most about the class?
Honestly, I think it's the people that we're bringing in. I mean, you're bringing in individuals who are coming to play for the university. They believe in what the program stands for, and they're coming to add to that, first and foremost. I mean, you talk to those guys, the first thing they talk about is winning a championship. Their personal goals, while you can tell by how hard they push themselves and how they continue to get better day in and day out, that they have personal goals, but their personal goals are definitely secondary. I mean, they're excited about the other members of the class that are coming in with them, and it's excited to see the guys that are here currently succeed as they could possibly be. You have that, and you're bringing in people with their credentials and their playing, their abilities, on-court abilities. You match those two together, they're going to fit into the culture. And that's the most exciting thing, is you're bringing in people that are highly skilled, highly talented, who want an education, but who actually fit into your current culture that you have. I mean, that's like hitting a home run.
Tom, do you anticipate signing anybody in the spring?
You're always recruiting, Pete. Always. I can't give you any clearer answer than that. And you know what? Everybody is. And we've got a lot to offer here. I mean, you've got a chance. I mean, it's proven now. You can come in here and get better. You can come in here and you can achieve your dreams. You can come in here and you can be ahead of the game academically, in the sense of being a 3-year graduate, 3.5-year graduate. Maybe there's another Cody Zeller out there that kids can graduate in 2.5 years like he would have done if he was here. You're going against a lot of people that take a lot of pride in their niche. We got a pretty strong niche too, and we've got an incredible fan base. We've got all the facilities in a great university, all those different things. But you can achieve, what you want to achieve here now. And for a couple of years, we had to point to the past of what Indiana had always done. Well, now we can point to the present, the most immediate present that we've just had this past year, and to the people that we're recruiting. And so you always want to stay as completely open. You have to keep having those plans. It's not like the recruiting period ends and you say, okay, we don't have to worry about that. We're so far into it with other classes and different, you know that. You guys know that. So, it's, you never say never on that. You've got to have your contingency plan constantly.
What about fifth-year seniors, which you won't know who would pop up in availability till May?
Well, I think, again, recruiting's a case study because every recruit is a different person. And I think it's the same with that. That worked out with Evan last year because, think about it. You guys know this as well as I do. We were oversigned by 3, and then all of a sudden we were under by 1. It just happens. It happens, so you better know where they're at. And I don't have much of a clue on that right now. But, I'm sure you just have to know. It doesn't mean you're recruiting anybody, doesn't mean you will, doesn't mean you won't. You just have to know. And it's like you hope you don't have to use all the late game plays that you have or use all the late game plays that the other team has, but you better have them. You better have them there ready. So we don't have any plans on that right now. It's not like we're sitting there and have a board for that, like we have a board for freshmen and sophomores and juniors, but you just see what happens.
Steve, how does the
You
development...
got anybody in mind? You know of anybody out there?
I've got to hear availability.
I know, I've heard about your game. So,
Steve, how did the development of Victor kind of help the sales pitch on the recruiting trail? Because he's a kid that developed as well as he did. How much did that help you guys?
Well, I think as these young players have watched a guy, and one thing we talk about with young players is not only Victor, but Cody and still Will in the program. Are you ready? And I think Victor has already shown not only was he good enough to be the number 2 pick, what he's already done in the NBA, he was NBA ready. Somebody didn't just say, wake up and let's go be in the draft. When he chose to do that, he knew he was ready. Cody was ready. And I think I know that's one thing that these young guys looked at when they were looking at, is Indiana the best for us? And there's no question the development of those guys has played a big role in this.
I don't know if it's overplayed, underplayed, but 2 more kids from the East Coast, and I know the one that we can't talk about right now is technically from California. But at some level, do you feel like, excuse me, the program kind of it sells itself more outside of kind of the traditional Indiana footprint maybe than it did 2-3 years ago, especially when you are talking about going to a place like Richmond or DC or even New England where maybe you've pulled guys from recently?
Well, I think the bottom line is this is one of the greatest alumni bases in the country. So that's going to put your name in a lot of different places. Then you tack on the fact that Indiana has had all the success it's had for decades in the way it's viewed as a basketball program. Then you not only add the ESPN and CBS, but now the way the Big Ten Network has taken off. That's in a lot more homes than just Big Ten area. And I think the fact that the Big Ten has branched out to the east continues to enhance it. But to us, you just want to absolutely get the best fit. We have been able to start at home really every year, but Will and Victor's year. And I wouldn't trade either one of those 2 for anybody. But you try to start at home in an inside-out theory, and like I said with James, we feel like we absolutely got the best player in the state, hands down. And so you want to be able to do that, but you also want to be able to put the people that fit best into your program, fit best into your locker room, fit best into your culture, fit best into your work ethic, fit best with your families. fit best on the court because they want to be great. They have aspirations of the team being great, not just personal ambitions. And in this day and age, it's getting harder and harder to work through that because there's so much, how quick can I do this? How quick can I do that? Well, you need to win. And other players want to be around other winners, and you want to get people that can really mesh like that. So Indiana is a international program, and with an international respect, just like it is academically. And again, you don't really go into it saying we need to target this area, we need to target that, or you have areas that you're stronger in. But you really want to go anywhere where you're going to find people that are going to absolutely fit what you're trying to do.
Before James gave you the call and let you know that he was coming here, how confident were you about the efforts that you had made? Did you feel that you guys were still in a good position with him?
Oh, it changed. It changed by the minute. Yeah, we knew we were in it. We absolutely knew we were in it. But it was worth it. It was worth it with him, not just because we got him, but because how we felt about him. And we always thought this was the best place for him. And because we knew him pretty well, and we got a pretty good idea of what he needs to do to be as successful as he wants to be. We know where he wants to go, and we have a pretty good idea with all the time we've spent with him of how he's going to get there. And but to act like to know that we had it, no, I didn't know we had Cody Zeller till he called. I mean, I don't think you ever put yourself in that position as a coach, because I think the moment that you get there is the moment you let your guard down, and you can't do that. But in these cases, it's going to get harder and harder. I think over a period of time now, the way recruiting's going, with the way, I mean, look at all the upcoming announcements that are coming. You're going to find out when we find out. We're going to find out when you find out. I mean, it's getting harder and harder. So again, you just deal with the flexibility. That's an answer to Dustin's question: what continues to change? And recruiting has always been a big deal. It's always been a big business. And now it's at another level because of social media, because of the television opportunities. So we're just heading closer and closer to the way it is in football, more and more. And we all knew. I mean, I felt like we were heading there, just like football is headed closer and closer to the way it is in basketball. There's more travel teams. There's more unofficial visits all over the country. It's just the way that it is, dealing with young people.
So you did find out, like, when you got the call, that's the first you knew that you were going to get it?
I didn't truly know he was coming till he got on that air that night. Now, I know what our last conversations were like. And I know what those were like, without question. And I knew what he wanted to do when he got up there. But actually going up there and doing it and pulling out that hat, I wasn't shocked. And I wasn't, but I mean, it wasn't like, you know, I had the smile going into it. I mean, we needed to see him put that hat on. You know, we really did. So no, that's the truth. I mean, we talked, he'll tell you, I mean, we talked pretty close right up until about stage time, so.
Kenny, real quick, Zach asked about the East Coast thing. How have you, I don't want to say how have you seen it change, the perception of it change necessarily, but as you've kind of got a, you know, bigger kind of foothold out there as a recruiter on the East Coast, how has it continued to evolve in terms of the way East Coast kids look at Indiana and what you've been able to, I guess, sort of spread out there as you've been recruiting guys in that part of the country?
Well, I think Coach kind of touched on it. I mean, the national exposure of the program, and you're talking about basketball fans. I mean, people know the history of Indiana. You know, one of the things that, one of the first things they usually talk about is the style of play that Indiana plays with. I mean, people know Coach and the staff, and honestly, Coach Buckley and Coach McClain have as many resources and connections out there on the East Coast as anyone I've ever met. But the style of play that we play with, the separating factors, I think we've well documented. You know, the ability to get a great education, the ability to develop not only as a player on the court, but through strength and development. Those things are what really attracts individuals to the program. You know, you're talking about playing at the highest level of college basketball, and people are trying to achieve their goals. And, you know, like Coach said, we always start close to home first in this great state because there's many great basketball players here. But, you know, after that, we do an exhaustive research to try to find the people that we think best fits our program. and we talk a lot about the East Coast, but I would like to think in the very near future, you may hear us talking more about the West Coast or internationally, like Coach said, or even down south. I mean, it truly is more about the fit than it is the location of where the individual is.
Just, I guess, to follow up on something you said, Tom, but sort of related to that, maybe just a curiosity. Have you seen any kind of impact with the Big Ten Network or with the Big Ten spreading out into Maryland and Rutgers, or is that something that maybe just doesn't quite register?
Oh, no, Big Ten Network, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I think once, we've always tried to play in the East Coast, not just because we knew that there was expansion coming, but because we have so many fans there. We have so many alums on the East Coast. And the bottom line is you want to bring people in that any Indiana fan is going to be able to identify with as having the values of an Indiana University person, an Indiana University basketball player. And we spend more time on trying to make sure we're finding people that have those characters and values, along with that talent level and upside and all those different things as much as anything. And I think the way that compounds it is there's so many opportunities for people to watch the Big Ten Network on any given night. And when you're in a program like this where every game's on television, they're going to be able to build an identity with you. Do they feel like they really fit with you? And there's no question that we've had some games over the last couple of years that have just been national moments for us. Certainly the Kentucky game and the Michigan game and the Michigan State game and all those different things. Well, it's what builds up over a period of time. And when young people are watching you play on a given night because you're on a network that they can watch you on, and then you can say, you know what, your parents are going to be able to do the same thing and your friends and family are going to be able to do the same thing. I think that's a big deal, and I don't think there's any question the Big Ten Network has had a big jump for us nationally. And I'd be surprised if other people in the league don't feel the same way. I've never really asked anybody, but I know we're talking about the Big Ten Network a lot with people.
You mentioned that Robert and James, you could kind of picture them playing well together. Could you expand on that a little bit, just what in their games makes them?
I think that first off, they're winners. I think second off, the versatility. I think if you look at our team last year, and I know I've said this before, we really had two guys play the point, but the third one got drafted as the point guard. So when you really look, Victor went number 2 because they saw Russell Westbrook. And is he a 2, is he a 1? You know what, positions are so, I don't want to say they're overrated, but if you've got to make a choice between a position and the best player, we're going to go for the best player, we'll let somebody else pick the position. It's like experience over talent. We'll take the talent. If that talent can get better, we'll take the talent. Well, I think it's the same with those two. They can play together, they can move the ball, they can play without the ball, they can play downhill, they can shoot the ball, they can get other shots. They both got to get better defensively, but who doesn't when they're coming into college? They're both going to have to get stronger, but who doesn't? They both got to learn the speed and pace of the game, but who doesn't? But the bottom line is when you're skilled, and like Tim said, they played basketball and they know the game. So I don't think there's any question that they can play together. And I think if people are paying attention to us, they know that one of the benchmarks of us right now is versatility and is being able to do different things. And it's important. And getting more guards in here was going to be extremely important because right now, basically what we're doing at the point is our starting 4-man goes back in as the point guard. And it's the way that it is. It's the way that it is. So I don't think there's any question that we had to make sure that we had more guard play. Last year, we basically had 6 guys at any given point that you could put in the backcourt. Right now, we don't have as many. And so I think those guys saw that was a great opportunity.
Anything else, guys?
Thank you very much.
I'll say again, these guys do a phenomenal job, and it's so important that you have a group of guys, and we've got point people, like I said, we've got point guards, but you're dealing with 3 people that are really 3 interchangeable point guards up here in the way that they facilitate, the way they cover for each other. It's really team recruiting. Somebody might be the point, somebody might have the relationship with this person, somebody might have the relationship with that person, but none of it works if they can't make them better. None of it works if they don't build true and real relationships And none of it works if they don't communicate. And this staff does all that. And I'm fortunate, and that's why it's ironic Benny's been up here with us too, that we're playing them tomorrow night, because we wouldn't have gotten this program back the way it was with the good people that we brought in here without things like Benny does, and we wouldn't be able to sustain it without what all these guys are doing. So, thanks for being here.
Thanks a lot.